Point of information, I used to be 6'8" when I played basketball. Welcome to everyone. Thanks to the previous speakers, I am honored and humbled to be included in this year's UMass Boston Hall of Fame ceremony. Thanks to the selection committee and Dick Kelly, who spearheaded my nomination. I'm surprised that you didn't have me, the old man, speak first. It was a risk. I'm usually getting ready for bed by now. I want to emphasize to all of the nominees how quickly time goes by. It doesn't seem possible that 44 years have gone by since I last played a game at Boston State. As you can see from my picture in the program, I haven't changed a bit. I was a basketball player from Hamilton Wenham High School, captain and leading scorer. You'll have to take my word for it because there's no video, there's no cell phones, and there's no selfies. A selfie for me used to be when we put our roll of film in, get it developed, and we get it back, and we go, oops, I made a mistake. I took a picture of myself. I was the first in my family to go to college. Quite proud of that. I was recruited by Boston State coach Jungle Jim Lesketoff. For you youngsters, Lusky had been a player for the Boston Celtics from 1956 to 1964. During that time, the Celtics had won 7 championships. His name now hangs from the rafters in the TD Garden. He was an aggressive player and considered the enforcer for the Celtics. Our team was often called the City Boys at away games. Ironic since I came from Hamilton. Coach Lesketoff encouraged my competitiveness and aggressive style. The low point might have been when my parents drove out to Merrimack and I was ejected from the game before halftime. I wish Coach Lesketoff was here in person for me to express my thanks and appreciation. He was a great teacher and a great motivator. I got a call from the assistant coach, Mo Maloney, the other day, and he reminded me of a story back in 1966-67, and that was the team that was inducted. I was a freshman, and that team was inducted into the Hall of Fame here about 5 or 6 years ago. We were one of the 32 teams to represent the country to go in the NAIAs out in Kansas City. The night before the game started, we were in a big banquet hall like this, and there were 32 big tables set up, and we happened to be number 32. So one at a time, the teams were announced, and these monsters were standing up. And then Lusky went over to myself and to Stevie Carl, who I was taller than, said, Bill and Steve, why don't you stand on the chair when it's our turn? So sure enough, Stevie and I stood on the chair, and for about 3 seconds you heard this, whoa, thinking where there's 7'4" people at our table, and then after 3 or 4 seconds, the laughter started. We have so many shared memories. No one gets to receive this honor without the help of teammates. There are some here tonight. I'd like to recognize Joe Casey, Danny Cotter, Vinny Spirito, and Ed Miller. We had a lot of fun playing. That's what I remember mostly, just the fun we had. We were a feisty bunch, attending class, working, playing ball, and commuting. My memories are centered on the camaraderie, the lack of ego in close games, the tournaments. I remember the fun, even on the long road trips. It was on one of these bus trips where I met my wife-to-be, Eileen, class of 1968, and captain of the cheerleaders. Eileen. This could be one of those Lifetime movies. We've had a 44-year bus ride together. I think I'm driving the bus, but in reality, I know she drives it. Thanks to the Boston State for my educational opportunities. I later got my master's and taught for 11 years in the Boston Public Schools before working in the financial sales area. I am impressed with the UMass Boston's mission statement and goals. It goes like this: to continue to be a student-centered urban public research university, providing students with opportunities equal to the best. I am proud of my children, Amy and Greg. This is where I was going to talk about Amy, but this was a surprise to me tonight to hear her comments, so I won't say anything about her. But I will say that I'm also very proud of my son, who lives in Sweden with his wife and three great grandchildren to me. And he's an attorney who decided to write a sitcom last year. And it was put on, and he actually starred in it in Sweden, and it was a huge success. And NBC picked it up here over the summer. It's called Welcome to Sweden. And it got picked up again for next year. So in case you missed it this year, you can tune into it next year. Retirement has given me time to visit my children. I also spend time in Florida, where we watched the huge UMass Boston State float go by on St. Patrick's Day. Maybe I'll march next year. A shout out to my grandchildren, Ben, Charlie, Archie, Abel, and Lily, who keep their pop busy. A shout out to my fellow inductee, Laura George, who pitched on our all-male team, but you've already heard that story, so I should have just crossed this out. A shout out to two other Boston State College cheerleaders, Claire Regan and Marcia Rubino. Could you please stand? Maybe you could join my wife Eileen and do a couple backflips and come up here and maybe do one more pyramid for the group here. And lastly, a shout out to my brother-in-law, Steve Milmore, who's sitting at the table also. As a kid of 12 years old, he came to all the home games for 4 years. And he actually held up a sign when I scored my 1,000th point. So I'll always remember that, Steve. Thank you. Thanks again for this honor. Thanks again for all this attention. Years of health and happiness to all of us. Thank you.